Okay, we're going to go ahead and get the meeting started. Okay, this meeting is now called to order at 5:33 p.m. And Madam Secretary, can you please call roll?
Yes. Commissioner Samuel Perez,
Here.
Commissioner Gustavo Mendez, Commissioner Edgar Lopez, Commissioner Pedro Trujillo,
Here.
Chairperson David Heredia.
Present. Oh, okay, we could just go ahead and finish roll call for one more commissioner.
Commissioner Samuel Perez,
Here.
Commissioner Gustavo Mendez, Commissioner Edgar Lopez,
Here.
Commissioner Pedro Trujillo,
Here.
Chairperson David Heredia.
Present. Okay, Mr. Enriquez, can you please lead us in the invocation?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Please bow your heads in prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we are grateful for the privilege of meeting here this evening. We ask for your blessing on the proceeding of this meeting and ask that you give guidance and wisdom to the commissioners as they make their decisions. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Secretary, was the agenda posted according to state law?
Yes, the agenda has been posted according to state law.
Okay, thank you. And this is a time for the public to speak on agenda and non-agenda items. And were any comments received?
No, none.
Okay, so we'll go on to the agenda here. I believe we're gonna need an approval of minutes.
Mr. Chair, did you want to do the Pledge of Allegiance as well?
Yes, thank you for the reminder. Okay, and Commissioner Perez, would you lead us?
For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start with the approval of minutes. I need a commissioner to approve a motion from a commissioner to approve the minutes of the meeting of March 3rd.
Motion.
Okay, and a second.
A second.
And Madam Secretary, can you please take roll call vote?
Sure. Commissioner Samuel Perez,
Aye.
Commissioner Gustavo Mendez, Commissioner Edgar Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Pedro Trujillo,
Yes.
Chairperson David Heredia.
Yes. Okay, so first item for discussion, I believe, is a traffic safety analysis. Mr. Enriquez, can you please give the report?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Item number 7.1 is regarding a request for red curb parking restrictions fronting 5959 and 5954 Ludell Street. It is staff's recommendation that the Traffic and Safety Commission approve for the City Council's consideration the installation of red curb parking restrictions fronting 5959 and 5954 Ludell Street. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Traffic Engineer Dennis.
Thank you, Bernie. My name is Dennis Barnes. I'm the consultant traffic engineer making this report. The recommendation, as stated, was installation of red curb parking restrictions fronting 5959 and 5954 Ludell Street. background information, a request was received from a resident regarding street flooding following a heavy rainfall. The city engineer proceeded to do a field and site investigation to confirm the existing conditions and also to assess what the impact would be on parking and trash activity impacts at that location where the drain location is located. The Public Works Director typically monitors these catch basins during all storms to ensure that they're free of debris that would hamper the drainage during the heavy rainfall. However, to maintain the effective maintenance of these structures, vehicles should not be parked in front of the catch basins because it restricts access for the maintenance crews to go in there and clean out any necessary or existing debris that may be present during the heavy rainfall. The area that is at Ludell Street is primarily a mixture of single and multifamily homes. Field inspection confirms the location of the catch basins. A diagram was provided in your report listed as in Exhibit 1 for the location to ensure that the staff would have availability to maintain maintenance of that storm drain. The city engineer made a recommendation about after his evaluation to install red curb. On page 2 of the report, which was presented to me and for my review as well, on the second page, it gives the locations of each storm drain location, 5959 Ludell Street. The city engineer has proposed 9 feet of red curb in length from the top of the driveway going westerly of the property. He assessed the parking. It creates 27 feet of parking space after the installation of red curb. The second location at 5654 Ludell Street, the same process and methodology was used by the city engineer. He proposed 10 feet in length from the top of the curb going easterly from the property. This ended up with 17 feet of remaining space on the property, so allowing parking. Exhibit 1 is attached to your report, gives you a aerial view of the 2 street address locations, and it shows you the existing box storm drain, and it shows you where the city engineer has proposed is 9 feet of red curb as well as 10 feet of red curb on the opposite side of the street. Upon my review and looking at the recommendations of the city engineer, I concluded that it was a reasonable request and recommended that it be taken to the Traffic Commission for review and approval, that it be installed to enhance the safety and maintenance of the storm drains as located and indicated in the report. With that in mind, I will now open it up to any questions that the commissioners may have relative to the investigation of the location and the report. And I'll open it up at that point.
I had a question. So even if they're not red curb currently, are cars allowed to park there, or they're not supposed to park there?
If we install, the observation of the city engineer indicated as such, they were parking over the storm drain and blocking access to that. So to allow future maintenance, should the event should it come up, major storm, something could have washed down the street, blocking that. The red curb prevents any vehicle from parking there and allows the maintenance crews to go in there and take action to remove any of the debris or other materials that could be blocking the flow into the to the storm drain.
Yeah, to answer your question, Mr. Chair, currently, yes, vehicles are allowed to park over that drain and the grate that's actually on the street.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of like a tough one because it's two parking spots and it doesn't rain that often, but when it rains, then it can get clogged and be a big mess and troublesome. Yeah, I did notice one of the addresses there seems to have like a double driveway, essentially lots of room for parking. So it sounds a little more fair to take a, parking spot and keep it for the drain to be clear at all times. See if there are any comments or questions. If not, I'm gonna need a motion from a commissioner to go ahead to approve staff's recommendation.
Yeah, just a quick question for the proposed red curb in front of 5959. Isn't that the 9 feet mandatory for the maintenance that we need to do there, or can we kind of shrinken that to maybe, still allow for 2 cars to park there?
Again, I have to rely upon the city engineer Doug, who did the field review and measurements. His conclusion was that it creates 27 feet, which would be, for the most part, one long, truck or 2 small vehicles. Assuming in California, there's 20 feet is assuming a normal standard parking space, but smaller version, like a Tesla or something, you could get 2 Teslas in that space. So his recommendation for the 27 feet was based on his assessment when he went out in the field with his wheel and so forth and did his measurement. By shortening, reducing that, I think 27 feet is adequate. I mean, I'm not sure how much you'd want to reduce it by, but I mean, again, I'm relying on his expertise that he went out there and made his assessment. He's been doing it for a long time, that he deals with drainage and so forth, that his recommendation is, I would accept his recommendation and his analysis as being acceptable to me. To answer your question, to be a reduction of less, I would have to go up there or a second guess what he's proposed, but my recommendation is to follow his, is that he's pretty experienced doing this, and I'm sure his recommendation is solid. I would not suggest reducing it from the value from what he's got proposed.
Yeah, I think part of the reason for my question is like a typical passenger vehicle is about 16 to 18 feet in length.
Yes.
So we may run into the issue where 2 cars want to park there and they either block a driveway or they take up part of that red curb. So I would say, I don't know if having 27 feet there would be ideal just because of that.
Well, the 27 feet, like I say, we look at terms of what the space length is for ADA, we assume in California law, for the most part, we assume 20 feet, and then when setting it up, ADA space in the field, I always add additional feet on either side to allow maneuverability to enter the space. You could physically put the car in there and then the 20 feet, but you got to have room to go, to enter in and then exit the space. So I think the 27 feet is adequate.
I have a comment as well. I've driven here several times, and it's very congested. There's always cars. So I'm wondering if there's more upside in just maintaining it how it is now, or is there more upside in that red curb? Because it's always very busy in that area.
I guess I'm the upside being what you want to increase the red curb.
I guess is it better like data-wise, on the research that you have, is it better to just maybe keep it as it is now? Because I do know that a lot of people do park there already. So maybe taking that away is maybe going to make it a little more painful for whoever's looking for parking.
Well, that's a valid point. I guess the question would be is in terms of the request came in, they were concerned about flooding and the drainage. So it's a trade-off, I guess, in terms of the citizen made the request because of the concern and their expression about flooding for the most part. It doesn't happen every day, but when it does rain heavy, it could. So that's the trade-off. So you're evaluating the assessment is the one space in their parking versus perhaps if it were to be all filled up or the drain were clogged with the debris and so forth, and staff could not access that to unclog it. There could be more damage besides the one space. It could go higher. Hard to say what depending on the storm, and you could have more damage actually to some of the homes there potentially. So that's kind of the trade-off.
Yeah, so at that point it becomes like a safety concern, right? So, okay, yeah. Thank you for answering my question, sir.
Yeah, usually they're pretty clear cut. I feel like this could be a tough one because I could understand losing the parking spot to a drain that, may or may not get clogged. But also the importance of having the ability to unclog it when needed. Um,
And if I can weigh in a little further, so the critical need here would be the red curb next to 5959, that being on the north side of Ludell. The reason being is because here the grate that leads to the catch basin is actually on the street, and that's the one that gets blocked when there's a vehicle parked there. On the south side, being 5954, we don't have that issue. So if the commission wanted to preserve as much on-street parking, then I would say that can be a consideration where the commission can forego their recommendation to do the 10 feet of red curb on the south side of the street. There, we don't have the grates on the street. The grates actually on the parkway. So my maintenance staff would still be technically able to access and clean. But where it becomes an issue is the one on the north side. And that's where we get a propensity for flooding, where floodwater can get to the sidewalk, and then it poses a safety issue for the pedestrians, for the public, as well as to property. So I just wanted to basically state that in case the commission wanted to weigh in reducing the impact to the on-street parking. Definitely the 9 feet on the north side is what we would need. And if I can share my screen, I can actually show on the street view what I'm talking about. Okay, you saw?
It's built into the concrete, the other one is flat. You want to share my screen? Yeah, you just.
So here we see on the north side of Ludell, this grate that you see here is the actual inlet to the catch basin. If we were to look at the south side, we don't have the same issue. Here it's at the curb face, and we have access through these lids that you see on the parkway. So again, if the commission wanted to reduce the impact, we can technically forego the 10 feet that's requested here. But definitely I would recommend pursuing the red curve here because this is where we get the propensity for flooding because this grade gets entrapped by leaves and other debris. And when a vehicle's parked here, my staff cannot access that prior to a rain event. So I just wanted to put that out there if the commission wanted to weigh whether or not to reduce the recommendation of the requested red curb.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Iniguez. It's a perfect demonstration there. Yeah, I think I do agree with that. Like maybe just do the north side since the south side seems to be accessible from above versus the north side being needed to be accessed from the street level. So I think
Yeah,
that'd be
just-
a good compromise for sure.
Just to comment as well, I mean, Google Street View isn't always accurate, but it seems like there's usually only one car parked there on the south side, so I don't think even if we don't install that red curb, it's not gonna change anything. I think that north side does have that impact, but the south side, I don't think, even with the red curb, it doesn't change anything. So I think we should also consider that.
Is there a scenario where the south one would be like essential or necessary, or like just better for your crew?
If there is a large vehicle parked there, it does become a little tougher because there is curb cuts on the curb face. That makes it easier for my staff to access. If a large vehicle is abutting that curb, it might not allow us that access, so we would have to go again on the lids on the top side. So it would be ideal to be able to access both. And again, it'll depend on the type of vehicle that parks there. It would reduce the type of vehicle that can park there, so you're gonna be limited to a standard size vehicle, not some of the longer vehicles that we tend to see on the roads these days.
I do see the importance of having both. Yeah.
And just also a quick question, Director. Do you feel like in your judgment, like the 9 feet is like absolutely necessary? You think maybe if we go down to 5 feet or we just do the red curb up until where that catch basin ends, would that be fine or?
I think if we do the red curve up to where the catch basin ends, we would be fine. And we can if that's the direction of the commission, we can go ahead and remeasure because that's the all the access that my staff would need to gain maintenance clearance to clear those drains.
Thank you.
Okay, all of those are great points. Okay, I think so. Definitely what we want to do is definitely go out there, not necessarily remeasure, but approving possibly the red curb recommendation on the north side for sure. And when we're out there, we can actually just measure to the basin. And while the crew is out there, I think they'll have a better idea of how much space they need, if they need an extra foot or not. So plus or minus, the amount of feet that is being recommended, 9 feet, could be minus 4 feet, depending once they go out there. On the south side, um, since that one seems to have different types of access, I don't, we could do the same thing and that'd be fine. It probably wouldn't change much for the parking there, whether we do like 4 feet or 9 feet or 10 feet. It's probably just one car anyway at that point. So we could just, I think, just mirror it on both sides, just paint the red curb, whatever is needed for access, whether that's 5 feet, 7 feet, or up to the 10 feet, if that's actually necessary. I think I'd have to go with that recommendation. If everyone's okay with that, we can set a motion for that. And I would need a commissioner to motion.
So are we motioning to approve moving forward, just installing the appropriate amount of red curb, or should we go ahead and see what that distance is gonna be and then reconsider, or what do you think?
Appropriate amount. Okay. If there's any more questions or comments, if not, I do need a motion from our commissioner to go ahead and go with staff's recommendation, but with the clause of kind of just going up to what is needed, might be 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet, hopefully, versus the 9 or 10 feet.
I do have a last question for that. Is there a reason why that wasn't suggested in the first place? Like maybe there's something we were not aware of?
No, I'm not aware. I say the city engineer went out there and he deals with drainage issues in the city all the time. And based on his experience, this is the assessment that he made. He looked at, as I mentioned earlier, trash pickup, access, and that was his opinion. Now, if someone else or you were to go out there, maybe make the same, you might have a slightly different number than from your perspective. So again, that's within his experience and expertise as what the recommendation he made. So that I don't, that's what he felt was the correct answer or the amount of red curve to be installed.
And
as
I do
mentioned.
want to add that we are missing the perspective view. So when we actually measure, it might be the 9 and 10 feet once we get out there to the field. So then, and again, this is just an example of feature similar requests showing both an aerial, but also the street view that shows the exact measurements. So to answer that question, we might already be at those measurements.
Okay, I guess just kind of, I think we're worried about losing a lot of feet. I get that. As far as like kind of figuring out the perfect solution, we definitely need the north side. Hopefully it's not 9 feet. Hopefully it's less than that. I think we definitely need that one. And the south side is proposed at 10 feet, although that one's the one that has the above ground access, and we might not even need a red curb there. So I guess without trying to make it too complicated, both would be kind of adjusted to whatever the feet would be needed, hopefully being less than what we're thinking. And I don't know if we need like a certain amount of feet for the south side one with the above ground access. For example, let's say it's only 4 feet. I think that sounds great. We only lose 4 feet. If it does end up being the 10 feet, then do we want to like consider just not even painting that one red since we have the above ground access? Is kind of what I'm thinking, I guess. It's kind of like north side, definitely paint it to whatever's needed since it's just street access. South side, paint it to whatever's needed. Although if it does go up to 10 feet, then we might just want to reconsider and not paint it at all since it has above ground access and just keep the 27 feet of space for parking there instead of losing 10 on the south side. That sounds agreeable. We could probably do like a motion on that. The other thing we could do also is table it for the next meeting. Maybe Public Works can do some measurements and get better estimates, and then we can go from there.
Definitely, that's obviously an option as well. If that's what the commission desires, we'll table it. City Engineer Doug Benash would then be able to be in attendance as well. And we would ascertain and revise the staff report to also show that street view as well, showing the actual measurement on the curve.
Yeah, because I do feel these 9 and 10 feet probably do allow for extra space, like workspace. Like let's say maybe it's a 6 foot, area that's actually needs to be painted red, but maybe you want an extra 1.5 and 1.5 on both sides to get to 9 feet, so you can actually maneuver and work around in case there's a car right up against it. So I feel like there's always a little extra room, but with the Public Works going out there and actually, having their day-to-day, knowing what it takes, maybe we can just get those remeasurements based on actual workflow versus the extra needed space. So we could table it to the next one and hopefully, you know, we get some better measurements. And hopefully we don't lose as much space and we can decide from there. Just need a motion from a commissioner to go ahead and go with that plan.
Motion.
Okay, and I need a second.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, Madam Secretary, can you please take a roll call vote?
Yes. Commissioner Samuel Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gustavo Mendez, Commissioner Edgar Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Pedro Trujillo,
Yes.
Chairperson David Heredia.
Yes. Okay, thank you. And I think we have one more item on the agenda. Mr. Inigos, can you please give the report?
Yes, Mr. Chair, item 7.2 is regarding a request for speed humps on Gotham Street between Ira Avenue and Geffard Avenue. It is staff's recommendation that the Traffic and Safety Commission, 1, authorize staff to distribute a speed hump survey questionnaire to all residents fronting Gotham Street from Ira Avenue to Geffard Avenue, requesting their confirmation of support or opposition of the proposed speed hump installation. And 2, if at least 51% resident support is obtained, then approve for City Council consideration the installation of the proposed speed humps on Gotham Street, or if less than 51% resident support is not obtained, then deny and close out the citizen speed hump request. So with that, I'll turn it over again to Dennis for the full report.
Thank you, Bernie. The recommendations were just stated. I'm going to start off by giving you some background information. Public Works received a signed speed hump petition from the residents requesting installation of speed humps on Gotham Street from Ira to Gephardt in accordance with the city's policy for installation and removal of speed humps. The residents expressed concerns that there was speeding on the street, and they believe that that was the solution that they wanted to see implemented. Figure 2 gives you the overall area from perspective of where the area was requested for the speed humps. One of the items that we always check is in figure 2. Figure 1 gives you the overview. Figure 2 is we always want to check the width of the street. It has to be less than 40. That was confirmed. And the third page of the report provided some background information for reference for commissioners as well as others who may read the report. It's always reviewed by the city engineer and the city traffic engineer. And this is the bullet points of the criteria in the policy. And since we have others that may be listening, it has to be a local residential street, 1 lane of travel each direction, less than 40 feet in width. There are no curves that would make it difficult for the drivers to see the speed humps. The posted speed limit, prima facie speed limit of 25 miles per hour, and the actual measured 85th percentile speeds have to be greater than the posted speed of 25 by 8 miles per hour or more. The street is not a transit route or a primary emergency response route. There are the roadway grades, not over 6%. Citizen support, which was mentioned prior to the installation, at least 51% of the residents on the affected street have to support the installation of those humps. And there's 1 vote per legal address. In response to the request, I ordered traffic volume counts as well as speed counts to assess, does this location meet the criteria? The block length is 945 feet, and the results that came back from the speed, traffic volume and speed survey indicated that they were done on February 24th to the 26th of this year. There were 3 days in which the 85th percentile speed exceeded the posted prima facie speed of 25. One day was 33, as mentioned here in your report, February 24th and 25th. And the 26th, it was actually 34 miles per hour. So there was 3 days that met the criteria for the city's policy, which means that was a green light to go forward with taking the report to the commission for your review and further consideration, reviewing the facts as presented. And we also included a diagram because when this gets sent out to the residents, they want to know approximately where those humps going to go. On figure 3, I've shown 2 blue marks in there in that diagram to give you an indication to the commissioners as well as residents as we're proposing future speed humps if they get approved. That is, after approval of the petition gets sent out, comes back, and then it goes to the council. It has to be approved by them. And the fiscal impact, if it goes through all those steps, is approximately $3,800 for the installation of the 2 speed humps, signs, and markings as required per city policy. And with that, I'd open it up to any questions that the commissioners may have.
What were the impacted streets that you said? I'm sorry, you said Ira and Gotham to Geffart?
I'm sorry.
The streets? What streets were they gonna be placed on the speed bumps?
The speed hump, I didn't identify that, and I do it by measurements. The blue marks on Gotham there are shown there. So typically when I'm looking to locate the speed humps, as a rule of thumb, we start looking anywhere from 150 to 300 feet in that perspective. We use ITE guidelines, and what that means is that there are certain lengths that have been established by the Institute of Transportation Engineers. If it's up to 1,000 feet, they recommend up to, based on their speed studies, 2 humps. If it gets longer than that, they would recommend maybe 3 humps. With that in mind, then they look at the street that's requested the speed humps. We now look at where would the best fit be. They like to put them if there's a street light there, and also where there's impacts less than no driveway or any other drainage structure. We don't want to put them over that. So with that in mind, we use those parameters to locate where the proposed speed humps would go. And as indicated in figure 3, those are shown by the 2 blue marks. I didn't put the distance on there, but we could do that if when it goes out to the residents. And with that, answer any other questions that you may have.
Okay, this one looks pretty straightforward. It looks like a lot of similar ones we've done in the past. Not too big of a block, but I do see it coming off of Garfield. Understandably, there's cars probably kind of speeding through there. And yeah, it looks like the residents will be able to vote on the survey. And if more than 51 or more %, then it'll go to council to get final approval. Okay, if there's any other questions, go for it. If not, we could go ahead in a motion to go with staff's recommendation to go ahead and pass out that survey, see what the residents of that block want to do, and then go from there.
All right.
I'll second the motion.
I'll need another motion, please.
Motion as well.
Okay, and Madam Secretary, can you please take roll call vote?
Yes. Commissioner Samuel Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gustavo Mendez, Commissioner Edgar Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Pedro Trujillo,
Yes.
Chairperson Deborah Heredia.
Yes. Okay, let's see here. Okay, and do we have any comments from commissioners? Okay, and any department updates?
Yes, Mr. Chair, staff continues to work with our consulting team from Lochner KOA on the development of the Safe Streets for All plan. This is a plan that's going to update our complete streets plan. There's actually a town hall scheduled for tomorrow at Ross Hall at 7 p.m. So we welcome anybody that can come with suggestions on the plan that's being developed and what our future improvements are going to look like. We're also continuing with our ATP Cycle 5 Complete Streets project. Still working on the hawk signal at Ajax and Gage. And we're engaging Edison to hopefully get energy and power there so we can get that signal up and running. That concludes SAP's comments.
Okay, thank you for the update. Okay, I think that would be it for the meeting for today. So let's go ahead and adjourn this meeting. I believe the next scheduled one would be the first Tuesday of May. Let's see here. Is that a 4th? 5th. Oh, Cinco de Mayo. Okay. Alrighty. This meeting is now closed at 6:14 p.m. Thank you, everyone.